for a long time. For many years, she's helped us with our youth championship we put on. And you know, without further ado, I don't need to belabor the point. I'd like to introduce you all to Lauren Goodkind. So please join me in giving her a round.
Thank you so much
Yeah,
for
no problem.
hosting me. First of all, thank you so much for being here tonight. That means a lot. So as Alex told you guys, I have written 2 chess books. I have been teaching chess to kids and adults for the last 13 years. And in this picture, these are a few of my students. And I've also done a lot of other projects too. So one project that I finished last year was a super long scarf that I made, and the scarf is about 500 feet long. Yes. 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 So also about 17 years ago, I also got the opportunity to interview Daniel Naroditsky when he was 12 years old. Okay. So let's just get started. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to talk about is my super long scarf. So right now, this is the mini version of the scarf. The name of the scarf is Snaky, and the reason why I named the scarf Snaky is because snakes, they're super long and they're thin. So that's why I named the scarf Snaky. If you can take a look at this, Snaky has black and white, that's the primary colors, because that represents the game of chess. Also, another part of the scarf is pink, blue, and purple, because those are my favorite colors. Also, Snaky also has the colors of blue and green, because blue means the ocean. I want people to take good care of the ocean, and then the color green means the environment. So I want people to take good care of the environment. I will tell you some more other fun facts about it. The scarf broke the initial Guinness Book of the World Records for the longest crochet scarf by an individual. The initial record was about 492 feet. So yes, it was a major project. The interesting thing about my super long scarf is that there are other longer scarves that were reported, but those 2 scarves were cut up in 2 pieces. So, but my scarf Snaky is just one whole long piece. A huge project. The scarf is about 75 pounds, so super heavy. So since he was so heavy, I couldn't bring him tonight, but that's why I have the mini version. Yes. Okay, so.
Did you say, oh sorry, you said how much it weighs?
About 75 pounds.
That's what you call a heavy scarf.
Yeah, so it's too heavy for me to carry. So you might be asking, okay, how many miles of yarn did I use? I used over 35 miles of yarn. Yes. Okay, it was very expensive. I used about $1,300 for all the yarn and all the materials. So very expensive. It took me 4.5 years to make. I started the scarf on November 19th, 2019, and I finished on March 16th, 2024. I did try to work on the scarf every day, but sometimes I was just super busy, so I couldn't work on the scarf, but I did try to work on it. Actually, if you remember, COVID was actually year 2000, so it was actually a really good activity to do. when COVID was going on. I also want to talk about what crochet really is. So a lot of people get mixed up between crochet and knitting. Crochet is, you have to use a hook, okay? So basically what happens is like, I stick the hook like through the yarn and then I just do the stitch. That is crochet. Knitting, on the other hand, is very, very different than crochet. Knitting is when you use 2 needles. So you have to remember crochet, 1 hook, and then knitting, it's 2 needles. I remember that someone taught me how to knit, but I forgot how to knit. So I don't know how to knit, but I know how to crochet. Okay, so the entire creation process, including all yarn transfers, it was time-lapsed and filmed. So I filmed everything on my iPad. So it's like I have like, proof. Yes. Okay, so I think I told you about this. I want to share a short video with you so you will have a better idea. So here we go. Oops, okay, wait, I don't know how to, oh, okay, fine, let me just. Okay, so this, I'm gonna duck. This is November 19th, 2019. This is the very first stitch. So I'll just say that. And then I'm gonna just zoom, yeah. Oh, so, yeah, you guys can see. Yeah. This was November 21st, 2019, so the scarf was very short. This was December 9th, 2019. The scarf was about 5.5. It's getting longer, so I kept track of everything. December 23rd, the scarf was about 14 feet long. It's getting longer. This is me crocheting. June 16th, 2020. The scarf was about 67.5. So yeah, getting longer. June 18th, this was about 5 years ago, 68 feet. Here's me, this is when,
You crochet fast.
well, actually, okay, and this is November 3rd, so this is me unloading the entire scarf. But this is 20 feet, so this was in 2021. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
but just to let you know, I had to speed up this video by the way. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna. Okay, so this is March 2024. This is me crocheting, and this is like I was doing the very last stitches of the scarf. And then this was March 16, 2024. That's when I finally finished. So, I'm sorry. Thank you. So that, okay, so I wanted to just share that with you. So when I go back, yeah. Let me just go back here. Okay. Okay, so let's move forward. Oh, and then toward the end of the talk, we will have question and answer session. So if you have any questions, then you can ask. Okay, so you might be asking me, okay, why did I make the scarf? Because like this was a crazy, like it was a massive, like crazy project. Okay, the reason why is because I simply want to just make a positive difference in society. Okay. Again, it's the scarf. It's just one of a kind. It's homemade, so the purpose of the scarf is to have a constant source of inspiration and motivation. So I want to encourage individuals to play chess. I think that that's a good goal to have. I also think it's important to think positive and also think big. I think that's important. I also think like when people think big, it's like I want them to just like cultivate self-confidence in themselves and then self-belief. That's really, very important. Also, since, as I told you before, since the scarf also has blue and green, I also want people to take good care of the environment. Okay. This picture was taken at Maker's Fair in Vallejo. This was the very first time the scarf was publicly displayed in the it was publicly displayed in for the first time. So yeah, it's exciting. It was displayed for a couple of days, and I got to play chess with some people, and yeah, it was very nice. So it was very exciting. Okay, so we're gonna move on. Okay, so one of the things I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to find a permanent home for Snicky. My goal is to secure a long-term or permanent place display for Snicky to inspire others. Because if Snicky just continues to just stay in the living room at my place, no one is going to see it. I made the scarf to inspire others. I want people to see it. So I have some ideas where the scarf could be displayed. One of them could be at a North Airport terminal, museum, corporate lobby, hospital. But right now, venue outreach is actually very, very challenging. And I understand, because if you think about it, the scarf, since it's about 500 feet long, it's actually much longer than a football field. So I've been declined by a couple places, including Burbank Airport, but that's okay. And then some potential venues don't even respond to my inquiries. So it's challenging, but you know, I have to continue. So my question, or what I'm trying to say is, I need all of the leads that I can get. So if you have any potential leads where Snicky could be displayed, please let me know. I would greatly appreciate that. Okay. Also, the scarf is also for sale at a negotiable price. Okay. Okay. So let's move on. Okay. I'll just talk about the first book that I wrote, and the first book that I wrote is called 50 Poison Pieces, and I wrote this book because I don't know of any other books that talk about poison pieces, so I decided to just write one. Okay. I created all 50 puzzles in the book. And what you have to do is you have to figure out by taking an unprotected piece why that's a mistake. Poison pieces, they happen all the time in chess. So what I was thinking that we can do is we can maybe just talk about one, we could go through one puzzle. So I think what I'm gonna do is, okay, so I want someone to pick a number from 1 to 50.
37.
Okay, so 37. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is we're gonna talk about puzzle 37. And just so that you know, this book is for beginners, so it's for people who are rated like maybe under 1,000. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I think you guys can see the screen. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so let's talk about 37.
Or would it be helpful if I set it up on the demonstration boards here too while you're doing that?
Oh yeah, I think that would be helpful too. Okay. Okay. Okay, so in this position, it's like to move both arms are equal in strength. So the white can take the knight on A1, winning a piece for the time being. However, taking the knight is a huge mistake. Can anybody tell me why it's a mistake?
Queen H1. Queen H1.
Queen to H1. Okay, exactly. So if you notice right now, the knight and king, they're on the same line. So that's just very important. That's a very important fact. So if the queen does take it, then this queen can go to H1, and then that's a skewer. Once the king gets out of check, then the queen could just take the queen. So that's no good for white. Exactly. Okay, so we have to start over because now we know, like, okay, taking that knight, that's a poison piece. We don't want to take it right now. So that's why it's important. Like when you do play chess, you need to think ahead. That's very, very important. Okay, so we need to go back to the original position, and the question right now is, what should white do instead of taking a knight? Okay, so I give two choices for moves. We can go queen goes to B3 or queen goes to B8.
Sorry, what are the two candidate moves?
It's queen to B3 or queen to B1.
Okay.
Yes.
You still got to score it.
I thought B8 was one of the candidates that you mentioned earlier.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Sorry. Thanks for the question. Okay. Sorry, I made a mistake. It's either queen to B3 or the queen can also go to B8.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I made a mistake. Okay. Okay. Do you want to tell me the answer?
Queen to B8.
Yes. Okay. We definitely want to move the queen to B8 because it's checking the king, and also it's safe to do that. If we go back, moving the queen to B3, that's not safe because the knight can simply just take this queen. So we definitely want to move the queen to B8 and check. Okay, so that was puzzle 37. I'm thinking what we could do is we still have time. We can do another puzzle. Again, this book is for beginners. Because you want to pick another number from 1 to 50?
49.
49. Okay, like the 49ers. Okay.
Oh, that's why you picked that. All noted 49ers.
Okay. Let's do, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and clear the board. See what goes here. Okay. Okay, let me just make sure that this is set up correctly. And it is. Okay, so the question right now is, okay,
Rook
it's,
on A8. Black rook on A8.
Oh shoot, I messed up. Wait, I messed up again. Wait, let me try that again.
What to move?
It's right to move, yeah, that's correct. Okay, in this position, okay, let me just make sure this is set up correctly. Okay. Okay, so in this position, it is right to move. This rook is being attacked by the pawn on B6, And the question is, why is taking the A6 pawn a mistake with the rug? So the Crazy. Heidi, do you have an answer for that?
Yes, the bishop would then go to C8, trapping the rook.
Yes, so that's why. Good.
Well played.
So that's why it's important to think ahead. If this pawn's not protected, but that happens, then this bishop can go to C8. It's attacking this rook, and notice this rook has no safe places to go to. So that's not gonna be good for white. Okay, so the question now becomes, because in chess, like, you always want to make the good moves. Okay, so should we move the rook to E5? That's the first choice. And then the second choice is knight to E4. So what should white do instead?
Rook E5.
Yes, so the rook should go to E5 because?
Because now it's not being attacked by the pawn.
Exactly. Moving the knight to E4, that would not be a good move because then the black pawn could just take the rook. So we definitely need to move the rook over to E5. So that's why, like, if you're just a beginner, that's why it's important to ask, if I move here, is it safe? That's very, very important. Okay, so those are two puzzles. So let's go back to my presentation. So that was that. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the second book that I wrote. And my second book is called Cream for a Day, The Deal's Guide. So I thought that writing this book, I thought like this would be a good outrage to do that. So this book is for complete beginners or players who don't know anything about chess strategy. And just to let you know, yes, I know that I wrote this book for girls and women, but it's also an exhibit for boys and men too. Okay. This book, it takes readers through an entire chess game. And I think that's very, very important because if you're just starting out in chess, you might not know what a proper chess game looks like. I remember, like, when I first started playing chess, I remember, like, I didn't know anything about chess strategies. So, like, my first couple moves, like, I would just move the rook side pawns up.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even control this thing. I didn't know anything. So, yes. The other thing I did with this book is I did create the entire game, and I also included en passant. I think it's very important to include the en passant move because a lot of beginners, they don't know about en passant. So when people read this, they will know, oh yeah, this is what en passant is. So I'm thinking, oh yeah, the other thing is that this book was endorsed by Women International Alexi Root, and she won the 1989 U.S. Women's Chess Champion. And the book is also endorsed by Women Grandmaster Jennifer Yu. She won the U.S. Women's Chess Champion in 2019 and 2022. Also, James E., he also endorsed the book too. So I'm thinking what we could do is maybe we could go over maybe the first part of the game. So let me go ahead and do that. Okay, so let me go to, okay, so I'm gonna-
While Lauren's setting that up, Alexi Root is a friend of the club here.
Yes.
And James Eade actually was a director here many years ago, about 20 years ago.
Oh.
Wonderful person.
Okay,
Yeah.
So a lot of good connections with Lauren's work.
yes.
And I saw that Jennifer Shahadi also endorsed it, which is
Yes.
also fantastic.
Yes, definitely. There's a lot of other top chess experts that endorse the book too. Okay, so the name of the girl the reader plays is Sophia, and she's just the girl right here. Okay, so we are gonna go ahead and set up a position. I'm gonna go ahead and push those. Okay, so the question right now, okay, so I give the reader 3 choices for moves. Okay, so at the beginning of the game, there's 3 choices. So the first choice is E4. That's the first choice. The second choice is pawn to D3, and then the third choice is pawn to A4. So out of those 3 choices, which move should which move should we choose?
How about E4?
We didn't do our
That's most-
homework.
Most popular one.
Yes.
We
Okay.
knew that.
Okay. And yes, we should definitely
Also,
move.
interested in DC.
Yeah, we should definitely move pawn to E4 because it does a couple of things. One, you get a pawn in the center. It's important to control the center, and it also opens up lines for the bishop, and you also gain space. So that's a really good move. Pawn to D3. That was another choice. This is not. This is just an okay move. I don't think it's not the best move. The good thing about this move is it does open up lines for this bishop, but notice that you're not gaining a lot of space from it. You want to have at least one pawn in the center. So when I talk about the center, I'm talking about the E5, the E4, the D5, and then the D4 squares. Okay, and then the third choice was pawn to A4, and then that's not a good move because you're not controlling the center. When you're playing chess, you want to get all the knights and the bishops out. So that's why pawn to E4 is the best move. Okay, so after we go pawn to E, so we're gonna definitely go for pawn to E4, and then Sophia, again, we're playing against the Sophia, the girl in the book. She replies with pawn to E5. Okay, we have 3 choices for moves. We can go 1, knight to A3. We can also go pawn to F. Oh, okay. So let me knight to A3, pawn to F3, or we can also go knight to F3. So out of these 3 choices, which move should we choose? Okay, go ahead, Riley.
Knight F3.
Okay. Do you want to tell me why we should go knight to F3?
Because it attacks the pawn in the center.
Yes. Okay. We should definitely go knight to F3 because again, in chess you want to get all the knights and the bishops out. When you go knight out to F3, notice that the knight is in the center, so that's actually very, very good. Okay, and pawn to F3. This is not a good move, and the reason why this is not a good move is because it opens up the king's diagonal. So not the best. And the other choice that I had was knight to A3. This does get the knight out, but this is not too good. Can anybody tell me why knight to A3 is not a good move? You want to tell me?
Because knights on the rim are grim because they can't attack many pieces.
That's true. So when you get the knights out, you want to move it toward the center. If you notice right now, if you move the knight on the edge, the knight can go 1, 2, 3, 4. It can only go 2 4 squares, so it's not that powerful. But when you move the knight toward the center, then the knight is controlling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The knight is a lot more powerful. So we're gonna go ahead and go with knight to f3. And let's see what Sophia does. And she goes pawn to d6. Okay, I guess this pawn right now is protecting the pawn on e5, so that's good to know. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're going to, I'm gonna give you guys 3 more choices against Sophia. We can go pawn to d3, so that's choice number 1. Choice number 2 is knight goes to g5, or we can also go pawn to d4. So out of those 3 choices, which one should we do? Wow, okay.
Pawn
Smart
to
cookie.
d4.
Okay, so yes, I think we should go pawn to d4, and then do you want to tell us why we should go pawn to d4?
Because knight to g5 isn't good for now because the queen would just take it, and pawn to d3 isn't good because it blocks in the bishop, so the only move is pawn to d4.
Yes, so when we go pawn to d4, we are fighting for the center, so that's great. Pawn d3, not the best move because now this bishop, it's trapped. And we definitely do not want to go knight to g5 because, again, that's not safe. So I always tell my students, like, when you play chess, it's important to ask, if I move here, is it safe? And then you also want to pay attention to the captures. So, yeah. So that's like the first couple moves of the game in this book. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on. Let's go to keynote. Okay, here we go. Okay, so okay, so I do want to talk about Grandmaster Daniel Naroditsky, and the reason why is because well, first of all, he is a grandmaster, but he passed away 2 months ago at the age of 29. It's very, very tragic. So I think it's very important to just remember him. It was very interesting because about 2007, my identical twin sister and I interviewed him. We used to have a TV show called Chess Diva, and we interviewed a lot of amazing chess players, including Danya Naroditsky. When we interviewed Daniel, it was on episode number 2. And Daniel, he used to, he served as a head coach for the Charlotte Chess Club. And right now, the Charlotte Chess Club is currently hosting a fundraiser to create opportunities to others to experience the joy Danya brought to the chess movement. Okay, so what I want to do, so one thing you can do is, like, if you take a picture of the scanned need picture, then you can get to the video for my interview. I think we may have time. Yes, I'm gonna quickly just show you the video right now. Well, actually, no, before I do that, this is the Charlotte Chess Club fundraiser. Okay, video. So it turns out that part of the interview was actually used in this footage, in this video. So, good luck. Okay, sorry, it's offline. Okay, so this is what I would suggest for you to do. If you take a picture of this scan me picture again, then you can get to the video. Okay. If you want to see the rest of like Danya Naroditsky, you can also go to my old website for the TV show. It's chessdiva.show.tripod.com, and then episode 02.html. This website is about 20 years old, so it's very, very old. So this link may not work consistently. Okay. When I interviewed him, I asked him just basic questions like how did he get into chess. Later on in the interview, I also got to interview Daniel's dad too. So I think it's a very inspirational video. So again, I hope you have time to just take a look at
If
it.
you have trouble finding the link, you can email us and we'll be happy to share it with you. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Okay. So again, I do I do encourage you to just also check out the Short Chess Club fundraiser too. And if you don't know, Daniel Naroditsky actually used to be a member of the Mechanics Institute. So, let's go. Okay, so I think this would be a good time. Does anybody have any questions right now? Okay, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. When you interviewed Danya, was he an international master at that time, or did you already make grandmaster?
I think when I interviewed him, he was a FIDE master. And I remember when I interviewed him, he said like, my goal is to become a grandmaster. And his goal happened. He achieved his goal. So I think that's very inspirational. Yes, so. Okay.
Well, I have a question for you, which is, I really like in the Queen for a Day, the structure of how you were showing it, because I find often when we're teaching young kids, like, it's hard for them to get a grasp on kind of like what a chess game should look like, or at least like an orthodox chess game, other than like just showing them famous games and hoping that they copy that. So can you just talk a little bit about like your thought process in that, because I just thought it was an interesting structure for the book.
The reason, well, I think, yes, because grandmasters and beginners, they play very, very differently from each other. Because if you really think about it, grandmasters, they're thinking many moves ahead, right? But if you're just starting out in chess, are you really going to be thinking many moves ahead? No. So I created the game, and that's why it was like, I was also added like bad moves or silly moves, but also okay, and then the good moves. I think that that's important. I think that like, if someone looks at a grandmaster game, I think it can get very confusing, even to an advanced chess player, because like grandmasters, they're so advanced, and it's like if you take a look at the grandmaster game, it's like some of the moves that it doesn't make sense. But I think with Queen for a Day, I just stick with the fundamentals. So it's just very, very basic. And that's what beginners need to do. They need to know what a proper game looks like. So that's why I created the game. And then, as I told you before, I did include en passant because a lot of people don't know a lot of beginners do not know what en passant is. And I remember, like, when I first started playing chess, I didn't even know what en passant was too. And I also think I also talk about stalemate too, because a lot of beginners, they don't know what stalemate is. Some people think that stalemate is checkmate, and it's like, no, it's not. So, any other questions right now?
How much are your books running?
Yes. So the books, they're $18 each, and they're pre-autographed. Yes. Yes. Okay. Any other questions right now? No. Okay, I think we still have time. I guess what I'll do is, I'll just tell you the story on how I got into crocheting. I think it's a very interesting thing. So I learned how to crochet in 2019, and I learned it from my aunt in Chicago. So what happened was I flew to Chicago to visit my aunt, and I had an open mind. I think it's good to just learn new things. So she taught me one afternoon. I just remember I was sitting on her couch, like in the living room, and then she taught me. But of course, like, it was time to go back home to California, but I just continued to crochet. And I just remember, like, I made some scarves. I also made some beanies. And so that was actually quite nice. But I noticed that a lot of people, they just make, like, ordinary stuff, like scarves and beanies and shirts, and there's nothing wrong with it. But again, I want to think big. So because of that, I thought, like, okay, what can I do to inspire more people, like, in a positive way? So I thought, like, oh, maybe I can make a giant chest scarf. So I did some research. I went to the Guinness Book of World Records website, and it turns out that the initial record for the longest crochet scarf by an individual was 150 meters, which was about 492 feet. And I thought, like, okay, this is the number that I want to beat. Yes. So I'm glad, like, I did that. Again, it was not easy. You might be asking, are my hands okay? So my hands are perfectly okay, but I have to say, at times my hands do get a little bit sore, but my hands are okay. You had a question?
Are you gonna make anything like that ever again?
The answer is, I don't think so. I thought it was a really nice project, and yes. No, I think what I want to do is I want to continue to write more chess books, and I'm hoping to publish my third chess book next year. And that's going to be 50 Poison Pieces number 2. But that is for more advanced players, because you have to think at least 2 moves ahead for that. Yes, definitely. Okay.
Well, we'll look forward to having you here when your next book comes out.
Thank you. Okay, so we still have time. More people came in. Any other questions about anything? Okay, maybe. You have a question? Okay.
Who do you think would be like a good audience for these books? Do you think like younger students, newer students?
Okay, that's a good question. Okay, so I'll talk about the first book I wrote. This, for 50 Poison Pieces, it would definitely be for beginners, but they need to know how the pieces move. So I think, like, if someone's rated like maybe 300, 400, 500, 600, like that range, I think this would be a really good book for them. But if you're rated over 1,000, this book is gonna be too easy. So Yeah, so it's good for beginners if you're just starting out. So for Queen for a Day, this book is for complete beginners and for people who don't know anything about winning chess strategy. Again, I wrote this book for women and girls to play chess, since chess is a male-dominated game. But again, it's also good for boys and men, so it doesn't really matter. I think for the age, I think kids, I think they would be good. But if it's like a young kid, like maybe 5, I think it's too young. But it's like if the kid is like maybe 5 or 6 years old, then maybe their parent could help read through the book, and that would be helpful. But I think that if the kid is like maybe 8 or 9, then I think that they could probably read through the book without an adult. And I think that also applies with 50 poison pieces.
They sound like good gifts for like chess kids and
I was going to say
Yes.
the same thing.
Yes, I think they make good gifts, definitely. And then for 50 poison pieces, again, it's good for beginners. Yeah. So that's all. Okay. So I wanna just say is I noticed I'm almost out of time. So I wanna say thank you so much for attending tonight. I really appreciate it. It was an honor to be here, and it was nice to share my contributions to the chess community. As I told you before, I've been teaching chess to kids and adults for the last 13 years. A lot of my students are in the San Francisco Bay Area, but I do have some out-of-state students too, including Germany.
Great. Well, can people join me in giving a big round of applause for And just a reminder. Oh, sorry, I didn't cut you off, did I?
Oh, I just
Keep going. Yes, I'll finish my. Yes, go ahead.
I'm gonna just make this really quick. I look forward to continuing to serve the local and the volunteer chess community, and I will especially just continue to work as a female chess coach to inspire more women and girls to play chess. So if you want to connect with me, that would be great. I would love to connect with you. If you have any potential leads for finding a permanent home for a Snippy distributed on store, that would be good. My email address is lauren@goodkindchess@gmail.com, and then my website is chessbylauren.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lauren. Let's give her another round of applause. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, Lauren. Hope to host you again, maybe when your next book comes out. Just a reminder for everybody, both of her books are for sale here. They'll be for sale here for a few minutes after the round starts too in the annex. They are signed. They are $18 each. Great gifts for a kid in your life that's getting into chess, that is ready to learn some more or be challenged. And yeah, just very honored to have Lauren here and to help support women in chess. And also just want to say, I wish that we had the space to host your scarf, Lauren, and I hope the best of you in that regards. And also, I think it's inspirational that you took it up and you did it. And like you didn't. I would have quit after like 50 feet or something. So you're an inspiration to me. So I'll remember that not to give up during my game tonight. But thank you, Lauren. And if you have questions. I think she'll be hanging around for a minute, and we also have books for sale, like I said. And okay, one more time, an applause for Lauren. All right, thank you, everybody. We'll make an announcement.